What's going on, guys? We're back again today with something a little different, something you might have not seen very often, the H&K USP Expert. All right, guys, so listen, I don't own any of the USP guns. I have a Mark 23, which you saw earlier on, but it's not a USP, right? So down at TSS, they got a USP Expert on the range, so I figured, hey, it'd probably be a pretty cool video. Do some shooting, talk about it a little bit, and then kind of compare it to some of the other USPs, just to give you an idea of what you might be looking at if you were trying to consider this as opposed to a standard USP or a USP Tactical or an Elite. We don't have an Elite here, but we got the Expert, we got the standard USP, and we got the USP Tactical threaded barrel. So I first want to say I am not an expert at all on these pistols. I know some of the basics, so there's probably going to be people in the comments that are going to fill me in on some things that I missed going over these pistols. But generally, we're going to talk about the differences with these. So starting off here with the Expert, what you have is you have adjustable rear sights. Adjustable rear sights, but they're also all blacked out. So you have like that target style blacked out front and rear sights because it's more geared towards that competition type shooting gun. This compared to like the standard USP or the USP Tactical, the barrel is fitted to the slide, so it is more of that match grade type of pistol. So you're getting that there with this over the standard USPs or the USP Tacticals. This particular one doesn't say anything on the box about having a match grade trigger, but it does have the trigger that has the stop button on the back. So this is going to be an upgraded trigger compared to like the standard USP. So here with the USP Tactical, this is in 45. This is the only option I had here, but I wanted to show you. And then the standard USP, this one is in 9. So there's some differences among the three. Obviously, no threaded barrel. But they say in the USP Tactical, you're getting that more match grade trigger. I cannot shoot this gun or this gun today because these are brand new offerings here. So the Expert is the one that's on the range that I'm going to be able to shoot today to give you that comparison, and only really being able to dry fire these to give you my feel for the trigger. So with the USP Expert compared to the standard USP, you're getting that slightly longer barrel, right? You're getting on the standard USP just that standard, white 3-dot system setup that's, not adjustable in any way, where this is that target setup where you can adjust your sighting system. And of course, the trigger is not going to be as good. Now, I've shot a USP compact one time, and it was the first time I ever shot a USP. I did not care for the trigger at all. I know it's probably an acquired taste. It just wasn't for me. The first pull double action was really long. You keep pulling, you think it's going to break. It's going to break here. Nope, you got to go a little further, then it breaks. Just not my style, but again, that's something you could get used to. I will say Expert, the trigger pull on this is significantly lighter than the standard USP and a little bit lighter than the Tactical. Just shooting them back to back or dry firing back to back, right away back to back, the USP Expert is slightly better. So what I can tell you just taking these shots is that the trigger feels really nice. So in that single action pull, right, it's very crisp. There's some take up. There's definitely take up, right? Wall, break, and the break is crisp. So let's do a reset. Right there, pretty short, a little bit of take up again for that wall. That single action pull is, man, that's gotta be 3 pounds, 2 pounds maybe. I mean, it's light, it's crisp. Get to that wall. it's light. What I also notice about this, just manipulating the slide, right? It's very easy. It's very light to pull back. I mean, it's really barely any effort there to pull the slide back. It's really nice. I don't know if that has to do with any sort of, expert or match grade, spring system set up in here, but it feels really nice compared to just the standard USP, which takes a noticeable amount of force more to operate the slide. Here we are with just the standard USP. It's not that it's heavy. It just takes more force, a noticeable amount of force more to manipulate that slide. I mean, the first pull is going to be a little stiffer because you're pulling that hammer back, but it is a little heavier, to me it feels like, than the Expert. So that same take up, it feels rougher, doesn't feel as smooth as the Expert. Here, wall. That is not as crisp, not as light for sure. Here's the reset. Reset distance is about the same, I would say. Still that little bit of take up before the wall. It definitely feels of a more heavy pull at the brake. It's not bad, but it's not the Expert, right? Noticeably different. All right, so here's the 45, the Tactical. Let's see what that feels like, okay? Similar to the USP. To me, it just feels a little heavier than the Expert. So that same take up, wall, same about reset there, wall. I would say, man, that's really close to the standard USP. It's not as heavy as a USP, but it's not as light as the Expert. I feel like it does fall sort of in the middle there. It's not a bad trigger, but the Expert feels crisper and smoother on the brake than the Tactical. Yeah, Expert feels a little better. Marginally different, but if you're shooting it back to back, I think you'd be able to tell the difference. I mean, it is a flat shooting gun. It feels nice. That little bit of extra weight you're getting with that extended barrel here does, I feel like, make that little bit of a difference. Again, but the target sights, all blacked out sights, is, this really just lends more towards that target shooting. All right, guys, so I put a small piece of tape right here. We're at about, it's about 2 inches total. I'm gonna go back about 10 yards, take 5 shots, and see what I can do. Now, I'm not a pro shooter. I don't shoot for pinpoint accuracy all the time, but I'm halfway decent. So let's just see if, what this thing looks like at 10 yards with, the whole Expert setup. Now, can somebody shoot it better than me? I'm sure, but let's give it a try, see what it looks like. Whoa! Guys, that was legit. So I was back 10 yards and really trying to take my time and do it right. that's all 5 shots in this small little spot. I had this 4th shot was a little bit of a flyer. I felt myself jerk just a tiny bit and pull that shot. But the other 4, I think it was my 2nd shot, was dead center right here in the middle. And, you know, with these target sights, you know, being all blacked out, and this is a small target, right? So you would use these blacked out targets, you know, bullseye shooting. You know, you have just a wider area where you can see the target to put that blacked out target there, and you'll be able to see the edges and all that stuff. So at 10 yards, I was basically covered. So I really couldn't see any of this at all. I just put my front post over top of where it was, lined up my sights. It was all black, but I knew I should be pretty close. So 10 yards with the Expert, that's pretty good, I think, for me. And again, I'm not a professional shooter. This is a really nice accuracy out of this gun. Telling you guys, this thing is a smooth shooter. You know what's funny is I've shot this one time before this video. Never really shot it, tried to be really accurate with it until this test here today. But man, I was on the fence. So it was like, to me, it's like, okay, do I want an Expert, right? Just to have in the collection, right? I'm not gonna shoot competition, but like, it's the more uncommon of the USP gun, right? So you can find a USP, but Expert's a little harder to find. Then the Elite is even harder to find. So it's like, okay, well, for me, you know, what would I want, right? If I just had to have one, you know, one of the more collector guns, I would say, I would definitely get the Elite. But I don't know that the Elite would ever be available to me and for money that I would want to spend for it, right? So maybe the Expert's the way to go. And again, thanks to TSS for letting me use this gun for this video today. It's down here on the range. It's why I could shoot it. It is really nice. I still think I would probably hold out for the Elite just to see the difference, the comparison between the two. I'd imagine it'd have to be better. I mean, it's Elite, right? It would have to be. Definitely, if you're looking for something for more target shooting, this over the standard USP, hands down. I've shot a standard USP, and this is a much better shooting gun than the standard USP. So if you're thinking about it, I mean, if you just want a USP to shoot and, you know, maybe carry or whatever, just a standard USP, get it. It's going to be a great gun. But if you want something more geared towards that target shooting and get that better accuracy out of it, this is going to be the way to go, you know, for sure. Or tactical. If you want to throw the cans on, that's another way to go. But this thing really does shoot nice. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching again. Steve MP5 on the Instagrams. I'll see you next time.